welcome to Critical Tumble, where a bunch of longtime friends and internet nerds transcend geography through the power of Discord to play Dungeons and Dragons, and critically fumble a lot. Previously, the Cupcake Coterie arrived in Demille, saw the sights a little bit, got the 3rd degree from Vievaled, the Silver Dragon governor of the place. Not that I think Rylan actually knows that, but he'll find out eventually. He's one of you now. You're allowed to tell him. But they were basically there to hit the Silver Vault, which is a lot of them seem to think it was basically a really big library. Boy, were they wrong. So wrong. But after lunch and various bits of explanation, including Barnabas being able to at least send a message home to his mother, everybody basically went their separate ways to do various bits of research, and we had effectively decided that because Hazel had a question to ask of her deity and could not do it in the Silver Vault because that lighting incense felt like a bad idea. And besides, having everybody wander off and leave Rylan on his own seemed rude for the new guy. So it was effectively decided that Hazel and Furseth would keep him company, mostly because y'all didn't ask me any questions or anything, so I didn't have anything to tell you. Ava had history of the Southern Lands in a particular time period, but when she activates that, she winds up in a library the approximate size of the city of Stark Coast, which is basically the biggest city in Baronsphere.
That's a lot of books.
That is a lot of books, and she's used to, when she studied, it was always teachers handing her books and saying, do that. It wasn't. So basically, she wound up trying to poke through these things and find out what the hell it was she was supposed to be looking at. And it's like, am I focusing on rulership? Am I focusing on battles? But they've already got battles, but this is a different thing. So she basically spends the entire afternoon running around this place going,
not sure what to look for.
Yeah, it's basically, my tutors did not prepare me for this.
I'm going to meme that.
Yeah, I mean,
well,
that's actually the meme you're thinking of.
Well, that we've already had it with Furseth. It's just progressing now. Barnabas and Remy spent a fair bit of time at their war table, and Clarity was a lot more relaxed in a library, which is actually bigger than the one that Ava found herself in by a reasonable bit. Although most of it was up, it was kind of mage tower kind of build in the in the quintessential mage tower books kind of way. Like it was just made for Clarity's aesthetic. And she found the things she needed to know because she's a studious soul, and her long time experience with having to get as much information as possible out of a library before somebody came and called the guard really helps with speed studying. But yeah, before we time skip to dinner, because it would have been suggested that you meet up in front of the palace, because Alice has a suggestion of place to go for dinner, because this is her stomping grounds. Hazel has a question.
That I very much do. In specific, once I get enough time to situate the ritual, probably not too far away from Rylan.
Well, I figure you would have taken up to your lounge area in the various rooms that you guys are sharing in the palace. That's the space you have to work with.
So I'm setting stuff up, asking any staff nearby how to make this safe, essentially. Not word for word how, more like, is there any way I can work with incense and a sacrifice without, risking anything in the room?
Do you think that your incense is going to burn the ice palace down?
No, I'm worried that I might set a random object on fire that's not my incense.
Almost everything is made of ice.
Taken.
Magical ice, in point of fact.
Yeah, thankfully I'm not paranoid about. I have enough of a logical brain to say if it's frozen, that's not gonna whoosh.
Yes,
Thank you, though.
I am telling you this in case you were worried about melting it. Pat walks away. and over shoulder. Besides, you have living fire extinguisher. Points at Froseth and walks away.
Just trying not to start cackling.
I'm pretty sure Froseth is also trying not to cackle for different reasons. This is what Rylan has to deal with right now.
Idiot 1, idiot 2.
2 idiots and the third with their head in a journal just writing away.
Okay, fair. But yes, Hazel is thus reassured.
Okay, situate ritual. In order to be casting, just double checking which spell in specific. Divination.
Okay.
Because commune is just a yes or no thing.
To be fair, divination can be too, depending on the nature of the question, but by all means, go ahead.
In this case, I'm asking of or is Aelor that for either what
There is no either. There is a specific question.
But trying to word this correctly is not easy. I need a minute.
Okay.
For what the people in the southern lands, worshippers or otherwise, call Tharizdun.
Hazel has not felt her god angry very often. It's not directed at her, but when a god gets angry, it's a thing. Clearly, Paler does not like this one very much. The answer seems to be something along the lines of, it's the names you're hearing whispered are the same names that you guys use or have heard use Tharizdun and the Chained Oblivion. Chained Oblivion comes out less, but spoken by less humanoid sounding voices. Make me a wisdom check, see what you can divine out of that particular bit of omen, because let's face it, divination is never 100%.
22.
The common people probably call him Tharizdun. The people who are encouraging the worship and are probably not quite humanoid anymore call him the Chained Oblivion. it would, given that that was a very good role, it's not so much what they call him, it's what it. It's not about the name, it's about what they think he's set over. And that wasn't touched on in your question.
If I try again, there's an increase. If I ask further, there's going to be an increased chance of it. Not so much fizzling, but getting incoherent.
And there's also the fact that, again, if it's more what he's set over, you wouldn't be able to chase that in the section of the library you've unlocked anyway.
That. Oh boy.
Yeah, so you guys get oh boy, but we'll wait on having Hazel explain that until everyone gathers up. I figure Clarity, who's very much in out. I know what I need. I know the answers that I needed to get, and even had a little bit of time to do a little bit of extra. But I'm done. But I'll be coming back. Turns up first, probably floating slightly, because that was a lot of books.
She's got her head sort of buried in her journal, just sort of going over some things that she wrote down.
Cover something good there.
Mostly teleportation circles. Is everyone not back yet?
That's the point at which Ava turns up. She did have the sense to give up fairly. I mean, she tried, but.
Hey.
Fits and starts, it looks like.
Sorry?
Fits and starts, it looks like.
Kind of. There's a lot more to look through than I expected.
At which point, actually, Barnabas, you're gonna have to give me a dex check for those sketches you were talking about.
Okay.
Yay, natural 20.
This was important enough. You didn't think you could draw like that. But this was important enough that this blows Clarity's cobalt out of the water. But yeah, Remy and Barnabas turn up next. Probably not looking very reassured, all things considered.
No.
Uh-oh.
Everything okay?
Let's say when everyone else is here. I don't want to go over this twice.
Not bad.
Yeah. It's.
I have a similar tidbit, though not from the library specifically.
Oh boy.
Alice A turns up at around that point. You two look how I feel. I guess we're waiting on Darvin now?
Yeah, so
Looks like it.
At this point, Darvin kind of runs out. Just sorry. That was not what I expected, but it was so cool. I mean, not very helpful, but it was so cool.
So on a scale of 1 to Clarity, how far in did you tunnel?
But that was the thing. They asked you for the instrument that you play and whether you sing, and they were a bit more focused on teaching you how to play the song than they were actually explaining the song. But there was bards of old, famous old bards, sitting down with you and just teaching you how to play the thing. I gotta go back there. Not now. All right, I'm busy. I'm shutting it. That was your day.
Since
PG.
Darwin is somehow more Darwin-y than regular
I know, that was an
Darwin.
amazing impression. That
I
was
hope
him to a T.
I hope he appreciates it. 'Cause Ethan did say, Darwin can be there even though I can't, so I was gonna do him justice.
Welcome to Flail Bard.
Anyway. Yeah, food, I think.
Yes.
Sounds like a plan.
Not so much ale as more mulled cider, but it looks like some of y'all need a drink anyway.
Yes.
Definitely.
Kisses Remy on the forehead.
That helps too.
That's why I did it, among other reasons. So, yeah, you end up at another place that seems a bit more geared for travelers, people who come from further south. One of its predominant features is a very big fire pit in the center of the room, with various members of staff running around them, because there's almost a grill set up on the outside so you can watch them cooking your meat. It wadges you all into a corner table. Yeah, basically, meat of the day is on the blackboard there.
Perfect.
Yes,
So,
I will just
there's,
assume people order, although you do have Darvin just going, neat. Sorry.
so, who wants to go first?
I think people who have the least amount to talk probably should.
Me.
Okay?
After we got we're as far as we could with the library, as mentioned last gathering, before we split up again, I figured I might be able to at least get some direction from Paylor. So I asked him what Tharizdun is called by worshippers or otherwise in the southern lands.
Okay.
I got... Well, to start with, I don't think I've ever felt Paylor angry. At least not at that level before.
Well,
Not directed at any of us, but just that was
yeah, I mean, it
toasty.
was bad enough that he forged chains at the forge that made the world to wrap him up in and then yeeted him somewhere. So I can imagine a god that helped do that being really pissed off that we have to deal with that fucker again. So yeah, that makes sense. Still probably not comfy though.
Yeah. Holding up a bit of hair, I look a little toasted.
Yeah, okay.
In short, mostly same as anywhere else. It's Tharizdun, but worshippers seem to lean towards chained oblivion.
No. Worshippers in general, average worshippers, Tharizdun, it's the ones that have been tainted and know his actual nature. Call him the chained oblivion.
Correction, slight addendum there. Everyone and bog standard level worshippers go with Tharizdun. the more fanatical, the outright tainted, the ones that aren't people anymore, lean into the chained oblivion.
So the ones who know Therisden's actual nature.
The ones that know that he's a void of just infinite nothing wrapped in chains made by Palor, yes.
I guess that's a matter of finding out what he's considered to be set over in the Southern Lands by bog standard worshippers or people who haven't been tainted enough to think that the chained oblivion is a good idea. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the size of it. A lot of god rage and 2 names.
And the same 2 names we already know. Huh. Ava, how about you?
Unfortunately, I didn't really get very far. There was a lot more than I had anticipated. So I didn't really.
And it was a little too vague what we were asking. Hopefully, the conversation we're going to have here will give some narrowing down. But but at this point, I think historical study is probably something that we can put off for the time being. It'll be helpful, but right now we're more looking at practicalities.
Mm-hmm.
Clarity?
Well, I got mostly just I copied down teleportation circles and figured out where the most useful ones might be. There's the one at the manor at Starcoast, but might not be safe to use until we can determine whether the area's been cleared out.
And Darvin is, yeah, because I remember you were actually looking at the cellar, and when we went back in there the last time, wasn't it, like, right to the top of the cellar door with goo?
Yeah.
But then again, all the rest of it burned away, so maybe, I mean, we rekindled the heart. It should be fine. But we're probably going to have to actually go and have a look at that before. Yeah, no, you're right, yeah.
Yeah, there might be residual things. I mean, we don't know what sort of effect it's had, the cleaning has had yet.
Alice, can you ask Francine? Yeah, I can definitely do that. That's, after we've had this conversation, I will ask her and see if it's viable. Good thought. Sorry, Clarity. From Darwin.
No, it's all right. And then the one that might be the most useful to us is there's one at the Cliffs of White Hope. It's a day or two from the Temple of Palor, but
out of character, Twilly sent you there.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That's the one that Twilly sent us to.
Hazel and Froseth will remember that one. Everybody else came later. And Darvin going, "Oh yeah,
yeah." That's where we ran into the.
That was just for the pixies and the cultists and Candor and things.
Yes. So, and it's closest to Black Crown, but we'd have to find a way across the chasm. So
Alice kind of stretches out her wings a little. I guess I am a people courier service now.
Would you be able to fly that far back and forth? I don't know.
There's not a limit to these anyway. It's, I mean, yeah, okay, fine. It'd be as tiring if I was walking back and forth that whole way, but I'm not going to drop anybody. There are benefits to being as strong as I am. Yes, a fair few, you can tell, pointing in Remy's direction. And Darvin, of course, just going, Looks at Remy making the noise and and Alice is just you made the noise first, okay?
Anyway,
Yes.
so there's also the one in the basement of the manor at Gray's Inn, but it might be buried under a lot of crud now that the white dragons moved in, so we don't know what sort of destruction we might be looking at. So until that can be determined, it's probably not a good idea to try to go there. There's one at the Shrine at Mount Pelor, which is probably too far from anything to be useful, and the one at the Black Crown Palace itself, which, is probably guarded heavily.
At the same time, it's probably a great way to get in when there's an army beating at the gates.
That's true. Yeah. So if there's maybe a distraction or something, then that might be a good idea.
Our dealing with the White Dragon was supposed to free up any potential distractions from the mercenaries, so they can all be chucked at the palace at Black Crown, and then if there's a convenient teleportation circle in there, we just take out whatever guards they need to, and tally ho, or something.
That is a good thought.
Definitely.
Mine is kind of brief. I mean, there's a bit more detail, but it's a little more on the personal side than the anything specifically useful. I did look into draconians. Turns out that there's 2 ways to make them. One was the first of them were made from corrupting dragon eggs so that they grew up not as actual dragons, stunted and tainted and things, but apparently they weren't making enough of those that way, because I don't know what a dragon breeding cycle is like. I did not go that far into that. Thank you very much. So effectively that's what happens when draconians is what happens when you taint a dragonborn.
Wonderful.
They retain intelligence, twisted, but still, which means they retain their abilities. We're not talking spindly, wibbly sludge creatures or shambling undead. We're talking a little closer to Abishai, except not actually demonic. Just some of them will have magic, and they will explode and taint on death.
Right.
They sound fun.
So they're actually solid goo monsters.
That's the thing, they're not goo monsters. They don't have the same expression of taint that a lot of humanoids have. Maybe it's because of the scales or just a draconic constitution. I don't know. That there's not enough research done on that. At least not in the aspects that I was looking at. Mine was just the area I have unlocked is what they look like, what their range is, and their strengths and weaknesses. Weaknesses, there are damn few. But anyway, yeah, they don't go tentacly or barnacly or any of the other crap you guys have been telling me about. But their scales tarnish instead, and they're not quite alive. They'll still die, but they're not them anymore.
So you said one way was corrupting dragon eggs and the other way is corrupting dragon bones?
Yes. There might be
How
other...
would you do that?
I'm very sorry, Froseth. I'm going to sound incredibly harsh here. Take Dragonborn. Add goo.
Fair.
The same way they were doing it everywhere else. You take the black crap and you dunk things in it until they drown in it.
There's the reactions that various kith, if you like, have to exposure to the black crap differs from species to species, it looks like. Dragonborn get draconians. We've seen what happens to humans and elves. Azamar, silent image, fallen Azamar.
Hmm.
That's weirdly normal looking.
No, this is with the wings and the black eyes and the terror aura that she's showing.
Still weirdly normal looking, even though the wings have gone bonkers.
Yeah, try being near one.
No.
Because technically, draconians look fairly normal. That just means that all the damage is done up here.
Yep, all of it's internal, and all the
Also, the blacks,
the
blacks,
abilities are warped.
yeah, basically, an Azamar that falls through normal means, because it can happen. They've got a certain skill set that is not my skill set, which I never want to be my skill set. Exposure to the black shit augments things as well as twisting them. Hence, Rylan saying that the breath on those draconians was cold and venomous. You don't normally get that. It's just, I guess it depends on species how the mutation goes. I didn't look at what happens to tieflings or minotaurs. I didn't really have the heart. I'll probably have to, but it wasn't on the docket, so forgive me for not wanting to think about it.
You're forgiven.
Thank you. But yeah, if anything else, at least they have a relatively good bestiary of black crap riddled things. They don't all have names, but
That does sound useful and not pleasant, but useful.
yeah, and Darwin is just, yeah, I didn't actually get anything solid. I was the whole bard spot was teaching me how to bard, and all the stories were actually too bardic, something too much like what I do to actually get any real detail. So if anybody says anything that sounds like it links up with some of the songs I learned, I can at least say, yeah, that sounds familiar. Which I will do, I just haven't yet. Also, this is really good. No.
What did it look like in your section, Darwin?
It looked like a tavern. It just, a good tavern. It kind of piecemeal-ish, except the furniture was a little less ramshackle. And, I just went up on stage with a or another famous bard and taught me how to do the thing. It was way better than the tutors I used to have.
That's neat.
Yeah!
We got
Just not...
amphitheater.
Yes, you said. It's just... I really want to just gush about this, but I know it's not very helpful, so I'm being sensible. I'm letting the helpful happen first. I'll say it's just, thank you. I think I've saved the worst for last.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'd say so. Barnabas flips over a notebook that he usually keeps on him, and that was, he has sketches of some of the various monsters that were seen and it's not good at all.
Okay, I know one of these.
Yeah, so we ended up looking up battles where there were people attempted assaults on well springs of this black crap. Uh, it's even worse than like everyone's like, oh, they'll taint. It's even worse than that. There's the black crap itself. There's moss that seems to drive people mad. Exposure can drive people mad, turn people. I don't. Remy, what stuck out for you?
That some of those who were infected but weren't showing the symptoms at first, they went back to camp and they still had enough intelligence to know to infect the supplies and attack their officers. They didn't just turn into mindless monsters. They were still acting strategically.
Well, fuck. Okay, as far as the moss goes, your note here, Barnabas, it doesn't just say that it drove them mad. It's saying something about it eating reality.
That's what we observed. I don't know how that works, but yeah.
I'm gonna need to head back to the bestiary. I'm sure I saw something that wasn't a moss. It was some kind of demon. The big flower looking thing. I never wanted to see what happened if you tainted a corpse blossom. They're bad enough as it is. I mean, they basic. It's like the name. They eat corpses.
Was that those Remy? Was that those plants that were spewing the airborne black crap? Flips through.
Yeah, it's Alice. Alice's been looking through the book and holds it out. Yeah, they breathe out the fog instead of spores.
Yeah.
Spreads the infection even more.
Shit. Well,
And
shit.
It also still seems to eat corpses too.
Airborne when it interacts with that stuff?
It can be.
Well,
Like
yeah.
It's yeah.
I just thought the fog was from that weird ritual they did. I didn't.
They must have got the idea from some.
It's so much worse.
They must have got the idea for the fog from somewhere.
What can we do against that, though?
We have protection.
That's the thing. It's the question of what anyone else can do.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, there seems to be more about this because, I mean, this first one you're talking about was a complete rout. Apparently, frontal assault's a bad idea.
A very bad idea. 4 companies of men just wiped out completely.
Well, shit.
Second one we saw was underground, some sort of ancient temple. They sent 2 companies at it. That's where
Flip.
there was other shit.
Is that a phase spider the size of a moose?
Is that what that is?
It looked big.
It looks it looks like a phase spider grown. Actually, no, that I'm getting the scale wrong. That's bigger than a moose, but it's a phase spider. They don't get that big.
Well, it spits the black crap, using it as webbing, poison, and the usual mutating bullshit too.
Oh, wonderful!
This gets better and better.
Did it teleport?
Yeah, very very limited, but yeah, it could. Kind of like what I can do, but not exactly the same, but short distances.
They really tainted a phase spider, and then made it really really big.
Like it.
Couple of them, I think.
Holy fuck!
So, yeah, so the whole thing where they are already partly incorporeal is bad enough.
Oh, God.
So now it teleports and spits black crap, and it's the size of a moose?
Bigger than a moose. I got the scale wrong.
Some of the companies made it past that, and there was a bunch of, I think, like heavily mutated humanoids who summoned something skeletal. Remy, you recognized it.
And Alice Safely, oh, that fucker! It shows
thing
the
we saw in
picture of the
Starburst.
of the behemoth that you guys fought
Is that
at.
in the basement?
Yeah, the thing in the basement of that temple to Tiamat that you guys first went to get Nye's necklace for Her Majesty.
So wait, they made more than just the one of those.
Looks like it.
This
Great,
is the
mass-produced
heart
basement
of the
demons.
corruption.
Yeah, the second encounter, one scout made it out because he was ordered to when it started really getting bad. Delivered the intel and then killed himself to prevent any further infection and spread.
Oh, fucking hell.
The quick flight diminutives did better. The protection from Lyra was really holy radiant energy is like the best thing for this. But
Well, we
if
saw
you don't,
that.
if you don't have it, you can't even be. The environment itself twists against you, twists you out of character. Real quick question: Would you two-parter? Part one: Would you say back home the guilds like the Izzet and Simic would have some sort of Magitech hazmat suit type things? And two, would Barnabas know about that if that's the case?
Now we roll the hand of fate. Yes and yes, but if Egrif hasn't thought of it, then they don't. Then it's not something that you could feasibly do. The problem with hazmat suits is they're easy to tear, and you can't really fight in them.
Right. So Barnabas goes in this whole thing about like back home, a couple of the guilds had suits for this sort of environment, but you can't fight in them at all. You have no mobility. They're designed for environmental protection. Any sort of scraping tears it, and it wouldn't work for this at all. I don't know.
Well, a lot of it, the protection that we've had so far has mostly been try to keep it off your skin. That's easier for some than others. We've all got protection from Lyra. Rylan will get something of yours enchanted that way as soon as we can. I think I think you guys still have a couple of jars, at least 3/4 full of that salve you made from those petunias and some other things, which might be enough to stop any. Plus the protection that we have, just slather it over a wound to keep the infection from going in that way. That's how you guys used it, right?
Yeah. Anytime we got hurt, we'd had to, take a little time to put some on. Otherwise, it would have started creeping in. And you can feel it creeping in, too. It felt like spiders under your skin. It was terrible.
Oh, God.
So we've got a few things that make us. Well, I guess we're the equivalent to the quick flight diminutives now. As far as being able to, with adequate distraction of anything large or excessively numerous, we're the ones who could survive long enough to get in and shut something down, which the problem is finding them.
I'll say, can you find a section about maps?
There's the world map.
Like that. I mean, we just need to compare where the well springs were in the south to where they could potentially be here.
Well, Barnabas is taking copious notes, so that should probably help. Darvin says, "Ooh, could I have a look at that just to see if I can throw in any poetical details that the songs might have?" It's Barnabas's book. Barnabas
Absolutely.
hands it to Darvin. Sauce nudges the plate aside, probably nudging Barnabas's plate a little in the process. Yeah, I take you all to a really nice place for dinner and we just kill everybody's appetite. I know, it's okay. I'm trying to whistle past the graveyard here.
I almost regret. I mean, one of the things I was looking for was an attempt to assault the Black Craft that went wrong to figure out what not to do, but it almost seems like just don't if you can.
That's yeah. I mean, it's. Thing is that it's good that you asked that because, I mean, it hasn't got the kind of foothold that it has in the Southern Lands anywhere that we've seen here, but that shows us how careful we might have to be in the Elven Wild and Cragveer.
Yeah.
More of a foothold, that stuff seems to get, the crazier the area gets and the more. Because if the Southern Lands got more and more xenophobic and generally nasty, the more of it got a hold there. It makes me wonder what's going to happen in each of the two locations that we're dealing with. And just how much it's going to warp what's already there and what version of hostility and what version of is it going to pull out of there?
I don't think that's anything that we can extrapolate. I mean, I haven't heard very much about the Southern Lands, so I don't know whether their xenophobia was always there and was just enhanced by the Black Crap, or whether they were more or less chill. I have a
Your
feeling.
assumption that things got worse.
I don't know. I have a feeling that, like, it's possible the only reason that they found races like, well, species like the Arakocra and the Tabaxi was because when the black shit wellsprings started, they went to expand. That or it's like the Azamar or the Silver Dragonborn. They know things, or they're better equipped to deal with the problem than other species. I mean, the assumption seems to be that Silver Dragonborn follow at least a little the Silver Dragon fondness for knowledge, lore, intellect. I have a feeling that's why they went for the Silvers. Azamar, well, a lot of radiant energy there, and it doesn't seem to like that very much.
We know what effects it has, more or less. We don't know a lot about its weaknesses. Should I try and see if I can find anything about that?
That's
I mean,
more
radiant, obviously, but...
that's more of a taxonomy thing than a history thing. As far as we've been able to see, because of what it is, radiant's all we've got.
Yeah. just based on Paylor's sheer rage in reaction to Thera's doom alone, it's a case of the prayer. We walk in the sun, and the sun burns all evil. Radiant energy.
I mean, I could try and look into more of the effects, see if there are any others we don't know about yet. So we know to avoid, maybe.
In histories though, why?
I don't know.
I mean, it doesn't have to be you looking it up. I mean, I don't know if there's a particular lot of treaties on the black crap in taxonomy, and if I'm looking at the world map either after dinner or tomorrow, I don't even know at this point. I think history is gonna have to wait.
How much longer are we going to stay?
Well, the answer to that depends, will determine when I go to look at the world map and see what conclusions I can draw. Just on the grounds that if we're staying another day, then I can do it tomorrow. If we're not, I do it tonight. We can come back. Don't worry, the books will still be there.
Might be better to leave tomorrow then.
I mean, we did say we didn't want to spend too much time on it.
There is one thing though. If I'm gonna be pulling a late one over a world map, I've probably got one more. There's one more question that could be asked on the mythology side. Ask about any myths about Therisden and the sun.
Good thinking.
If Paylor is that angry,
Yeah, I'm gonna look into that. I've also still got commune, and I have a few other queries that are more yes and no that I'm gonna be asking later.
it can't be later if we're leaving tomorrow.
Well, no, it's not something that we're going to be able to get information on here, I don't think, because we have our things that we've already picked, and there's no switching them, and none of these have anything to do with.
Yeah, but if you tell
where
us, if you
followers
tell,
of Tiamat are,
throw a rock at this point.
and which ones would she listen to?
Any of them that agree with her, probably.
Which ones would there be any that could convince her?
She's a god!
Yeah.
She's a god of pride!
Oof.
Well, we did talk about this a bit with that Archon.
That's not a question. That's not a question you ask Paylor. That's a question you ask Archon.
Yeah, that's.
Ah,
that's not
okay. Thing is, I've seen him. Theoretically, I could send him a message.
Do we reckon you could use that to track you down, though?
I can't use it to track him. How the hell is he going to do it the other way around?
I guess.
Besides, even if he can he get here?
Fair point.
We just need to be able to plant that bit of doubt.
Yeah, but before we even try that, we need to figure out who's gonna talk and how. Because if we're gonna be trying to convince him, again, pride. If we say it wrong, then Darvin is like, yeah, so definitely not me. Because I'm going to say it wrong. I always do. But she's right. We've seen what happens when we get people who go in and they say the wrong thing. I'm talking about myself here. So, you know, and we just mess it up and he goes back to supporting her. We really don't want that to happen. He goes back to the notebook.
And Hazel said she saw from the vault how something looking like a dragonborn gave her that temptation and
Yeah, but
played on
Not
her
something.
pride.
that's probably,
There is good.
Yeah.
and he
Right,
can take whatever shape he wants. Thing is, I'm wondering which of us he'd take more seriously, and at the end of the day, I just keep going back to Dragonborn to Dragonborn. If you can think of a way to talk to him, if I can set up something with, obviously, you will have a lot of backup. So much backup. I just wonder if he's a speciesist asshole, that's all. And I remember Hazel's egg donor, frankly. So, okay, we didn't have any high elves, and she treated Aaron like a barbarian, which, excuse me, that's my job. But point is that she was at least a little less bullshitty, so maybe he's the same kind of asshole. I don't know. Would you be willing, is the question. Because I'm not going to push you into this unwilling.
Like, I can try, but as we're all aware, I'm not the best with words.
We can coach. We can coach you.
Well, we don't want him to think.
Usually when I talk as part of this group, you guys listen to me because I don't say much. When I feel the need to speak up, I think it's important. But that comes with experience with me that this person wouldn't have.
Gotta be someone who will give the impression that they're not trying to bullshit him.
And you wouldn't be able to bullshit anyone if your life depended on it. It's like, Darvin is just going, I know that I usually sound like I'm too stupid to actually lie, but that's really not going to help us.
Yeah, that. Sitting in a similar boat here. Intuition only takes one so far with being able to say the right things. Having an inkling and guessing has caused foot in mouth from me more times than it hasn't.
You are well acquainted with the taste of your own shoes. And it looks up. I never did look for that barbecue flavored shoe polish. Next time we're in Acre.
No.
There's grins at Hazel. It's like, in that sort of, I lightened the mood and made people laugh. Yay thing.
The thing is, we obviously want him to take a certain action, but we are telling him the truth here.
What's the thing? If we're not, well, that's the thing. That's why we need to pick someone who doesn't look like they're going to lie. I mean, I'm out, if only because I I would be good at lying.
I was gonna say, too good at lying.
Barnabas.
It is fun.
Yeah, I know. It's my training, and I am a different kind of bard than Darwin over here is. I resemble that remark. Rylan has too much in the way of ulterior motive, and we don't really know enough about you to know how you would express, and you don't even know who Arkin is, so.
Yeah, no, as much as I want to help, I don't know how good I am exactly in this situation.
Don't worry, I'm sure you have plenty to add. It's, Ree, the last time you spoke to him.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
no,
threatened him.
a lot. Not that I blame you, but
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
several things.
I mean, Clarity probably could, but honestly, if it's not gonna be Froseth, I'd say Barnabas.
I could see that.
I'd be willing if need be.
And the reason I say that is I had a quick poke around at his rogues gallery. It wasn't just that blue Abishai and whatever else he can drag out. When he's on this plane, instead of tromping around Avernus, you're not the only sapient minotaur on this plane. He has a companion.
Really?
I think it got mentioned at one point. I mean, he's the minotaur he's hanging around with is not from around here, obviously, but came to here via hell. I don't know exactly which level, but hell somewhere or other. And I actually also don't know entirely how sapient he is, because dual weapons like you, screaming, raging, fighting more like me, and apparently has a really impressive body count.
Oh,
It just means that Arkin might take a Minotaur more seriously.
all right. Well, I'd be definitely willing to try. That's for sure.
We couldn't hear you, Clarity.
Well, I was just going to say, do you think he'd even, I don't know, listen to what we have to say in that regard? It struck me just from, I don't know, his demeanor and
He was
like
looking
that.
for a way to distract her. He doesn't like the sound of this either.
That's the thing. He did seem like he will listen. He might not listen easily, but he'll listen more than you would. Well, someone who was buying into this, someone who's been corrupted.
I was just under the impression from him that he was more interested in the power aspects of it, and that his acquisition of power was more important.
That's not what I got, and I was kind of the one at the end of his sword. What I seemed to get from him was that his entire interest was freeing Tiamat. And she thought that black crap would give her the power to do that, and he wasn't so sure, so he was trying to get something, or more to the point at that point, someone who would distract her enough to make her set aside that particular end of study until he could look into it and get some information on whether it was good or bad for her.
Like what was he? Because that brings it into an interesting thought process. Like, he was looking to grab you so that he could use you as a demonstration as to why it's not good, why it wouldn't work well, because if it can warp someone's celestial, what do you think it can do to a god?
I mean, that's a possibility, but what he was saying was, I want her off this, make me an offer. So if we gave him something actually solid, the background that we've dug up, he might work a little harder at it.
We just need to convince him that this is going to harm Tiamat in the end. We're not going to convince him to stop being loyal, but we can convince him that this isn't going to go the way she thinks it will, that she's being played.
I mean, what he does with that, I don't know, but he's apparently her... I mean, given what he was wearing, this is a bad way of saying it, but he's her right hand.
Yeah,
If
that is
she-
an interesting way of saying that.
If she'd listened to anybody, even a little tiny bit, it might be him.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
Worth a try.
it's making sure that we've got a safe rendezvous and an idea of what we're gonna say and how we're gonna say it. I mean, obviously we'll be backing whoever speaks to him, but we need a spokesperson or we're all just gonna talk over each other and do the thing. There's a difference between jumping in to add a bit of information and doing what I do from Darwin. Yes, thank you. You see my point.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could offer to cast a stone of truth at the meeting. It's not foolproof, but it's always something of a show of faith.
I do have that spell. But one thing I'm worried about is how do we do it? Would we like set up a face-to-face with just him and the spokesperson? Because if we're all there and he's on his own,
No.
he's not gonna.
Not with the hand, and I think he'd know it. I just don't think he'd mind meeting all of us, even if he was alone, which, to be fair, he's probably not going to be anyway. But he's proud enough that he could get the drop on us on whatever situation. We just have to keep our eye on the ball, and it's something that we need to think about, but for right this second, we've still got shit to do in Baronsvere.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this is more of a everybody kind of keep it in mind thing than and think about how we should handle it.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got to deal with Varidel.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do.
We've got objective 1 with side possibility of talking at Archon.
No, that's still in the. That's not really on the list as much as it's in the prep stage. We got a lot of stuff in prep stage. Technically, next actual proper thing on the list is at least examining what's going on in the Elven Wild, or asking for some more recent information, seeing what it's doing to Baronsvere, how far it's spreading. But we've got to deal with some of this dragon shit, or again, no planting season, difficult terrain for the mercs to traverse in terms of Black Crown. At the very least, we'll be passing through Hearthstone, so we'll be able to check on there, and it's Twilly and Miranda. They generally know just about everything.
Yep. Oh, you're gonna love Mom and Mama. And I'm looking at Rylan. They're a whole thing.
I don't think that reassures me as much as you want it to.
They're lovely, don't worry, you'll see.
You know the aggressively welcoming you've gotten from a few of us?
Oh god, more of that?
A more maternal version of that.
And
And
12,
a dozen kids.
13-ish
They are the reason I am me.
The halfling
I know
women,
you as is.
the halfling mothers, not the kids. Although I guess partially the kids do.
You're likely to be adopted within the first 5 minutes.
Sounds about right.
I will keep that in mind then, I suppose. Oh boy.
Breathe. It's okay. It's mostly a matter of favorite foods and arranging you a room at Fort Cupcake.
Better judges of when to hug than I am, so
The kids not so much. The kids may mob you.
you will get swarmed.
I was gonna
Well-
say something and then my brain stopped because it couldn't picture anything outside of like a giant cupcake that served as a spy base. And
Right, right. It's not a literal cupcake. It's
No.
just a place we stay.
They named it Fort Cupcake. I had nothing to do with this.
Wonderful.
Well, we are the Cupcake Coterie, and we needed a fort, so Fort Cupcake.
Yep. It is pretty cozy.
This implies you have other forts somewhere across the world that imply a Fort Frosting and a Fort Sprinkles and
Don't give the
buttercream, probably.
Frosting.
don't give the Hearth Hearts ideas. There's apparently several dozen quick flights at Egref, so
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, Hearthhome is, well, it's the end result of the best people from the quick flight diminutives settling down.
Oh,
As is most of Goldentown.
I will keep that in mind then.
Just, I mean, best I got as a demonstration of another case is, well, the one who taught me, got me started on being as attached to Palor as I am, and I'm casting Spiritual Weapon above the table in the form of Jenna's Fist.
Oh,
She nailed that.
you can do that.
She made the axe. She made a lot of our stuff.
silent image, heavily. Hey, Rylan. Silent
Hi.
image, heavily built woman with a Winter Soldier-esque prosthetic arm, short grayish hair, very angular features, but attractive in her way, just in that way that mountains are attractive. And again, fully articulated metal arm.
Which is also in Spiritual Weapon form floating above the
There's just
table.
there's just the image of a very distracted Rylan like going back and forth between the spiritual weapon and the silent image and not making one look at the notebook as they're sketching this arm.
Yes, and they're going to have to make me a dex check for that one.
And well, that sounds about right. Where did my window go? It's over here.
Derailed the elf.
That's a save, not a check.
I pushed the wrong button. My mistake.
And to be fair, so did Brian.
But I called it immediately when I did it.
Yeah, so, but we'll leave that there. So, yeah, but now that I've actually caught it beforehand, let's... To be fair, that was more important than this. So, this one I'm going to demand a proper check.
Oh, this is a button. I do not use Roll20 as much as you would.
Yeah,
lead
no,
me to
it's
believe as someone
okay.
who's played D&D as long as I have.
Yeah, the other thing, but this isn't the first for all of us, but anyway, yeah, it's not great, especially since you're not looking.
Mhm.
But it's actually no. To be fair, it's probably coming close to Clarity's kobolds.
Yes.
Sounds about right.
I'm going to
Just-
dispel the
and
the
she
weapon.
dispels the silent image. You'll meet her, so you don't have to worry about. Oh, hey, Clarity, have you showed him your kobolds?
No,
Which
hold on. Let me bring
kobolds?
that up. Give me a minute.
Yes, I think they.
They're physical kobolds.
Yes, yeah, the Clarity.
There's one. He's holding a parasol.
That was a she, I remember. That was
Oh,
one of the
she,
matriarchs.
She was. Oh, here's another one with a top hat. There we go.
Fascinating.
Yeah, but look at it. Points at Rylands. They've got a similar art style when they're not looking.
I would have been looking. I was a little distracted by all of the imagery.
Well, if we'd known you were drawing them, that would have been a different thing.
Fair enough.
But don't worry, you'll get to actually see Jenna, and then you can start sketching, and then she may well hang you up like a coat.
I have been in said hanging location multiple times, so
Would rather not
It's
like
safe
to be
enough.
hung up like a coat.
She's not gonna care.
Wonderful.
when
She won't
Jenna
harm
has
you,
decided
but
you need to spend some time on the coat rack, you spend time on the coat.
she does not suffer fools gladly.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And her definition of fools is it encompasses Darwin is just it encompasses a lot. All justified. We just find new ways of being fools.
Noted.
Don't worry, I'm sure you'll find your own ways.
More than certain of that as well.
It's not something we're gonna hold against you, dude. It's just, and Darwin is if they held being fools against us, we wouldn't have a party. I mean, they'd have left me with the vine blights at the very first, and if not then definitely when the thunder wave thing happened. Yeah, I'm still sorry about that.
You haven't done it since. We're good.
No, but I'm still gonna apologize.
Do not ask.
I nearly killed half of them. But I haven't done it since. She's right.
Way back at the start, there was some poor aiming involved. Darwin's gotten a lot better since.
This is
Still
why
figuring how thing works.
Well, this is why I'm a lot more comfortable. I'm not more careful now when I use Thunderwave, and the fact that Alice has it and actually knows how to use it, that's helped a lot. Thank you.
No, Sid. Just slowly squirreling back into the notebook. Just
I mean,
absent-minded writing.
I'll ask him what he does later, but for now, finish dinner. Some of us have still got research bits to do, and then I guess we make ready for. At least we got the key to get directly to Goldendale. It's a bit of a trek to Gray's Inn from there, but it's still better than the collapsed mountain tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
Hopping in a pocket under a ice mountain would be bad.
If there's even still a pocket, I don't know what happens if you try to teleport into an occupied space, but I'm betting it's
I
bad.
want to know.
I'm betting it's bad.
Let's just assume it's bad and leave it
Probably
at that.
bad.
Yeah. Right, and
We like our insides inside of our bodies.
And we would prefer that things like ice, debris, or black crap did not end up inside our bodies when we teleported where it is supposed to be. Anyway. And we are at about break time, so when we come back in a few minutes, there will be last minute bits, and then we're heading back to Baronsphere. And we're back. Setting in for evening of whatever anybody else is actively doing. And Alice has taken the notebook that Darvin has added various bits of note to. I mean, it's not very much, and I hope that people didn't just, like, make up landmarks and things, or that they were still there once mercenaries stomped through them, but all you can do is look, right? I'll do what I can, but and I don't know if this will show a pattern of any kind, but better to at least try.
Worth a try, yeah.
Yep. And I'm headed back into the mythology section.
Is Froseth going with her, since he's got that unlocked?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
then plus an extra set of eyes is just infinitely better than just mine, because I'm me.
yes, well, you still have the two high whiz characters, so it's just it's just the low int kind of gets you occasionally. So yeah, we'll deal with you because everything else is just down to the DM really. So yes, you enter your amphitheater space. You know the layout by now.
Go to the activation setup and ask for myths relating to Tharizdun and the sun.
There is a myth in the Southern Lands that basically goes along the lines of, and this feels like nothing that is right, particularly to Hazel, who has her significant connection to Paylor. Paylor is about life and light, and apparently in the Southern Lands, somebody has started myth lore lie thing that Paylor is actually out to kill them. Otherwise, why would the sun be beating down so hard and killing so many crops and leaving them a barren wasteland? So Tharizdun is supposed to, if given enough worship and power, conquer Paylor and make the sun stop killing them. Hazel and Froseth will both remember some things about eating the sun. That's clearly not what the legend is outright saying, but we didn't hear that, Antheus.
Just like an okay.
Oh.
Just, yeah.
Silence from me. Then a lot of very hostile sounding squawking. May or may not have veered into halfling swearing.
Just first a side-eyeing this for it.
I'm just trying to
Attempt to
still
put
trying
a
to
calming
contain
hand
myself.
on the shoulder, but
Oh no, she's not moving. She's just swearing a lot.
Yeah.
So hand can go, but
Yeah, I haven't started vibrating yet.
Yet.
and how long is it going to take for Hazel to calm the fuck down?
Like a solid 2 minutes.
So first with the standing there with the attempt at pat for like 2 minutes.
yeah. It's like I don't know what to say, so just be here.
Yay. Like most of that's out of my system. I think I have an understanding of Paylo's sheer rage about this a little bit better now. Oh, that is so many levels of not okay. Okay. So at least we've got this. DM, just small refresher. Did I look for Southern Lands myths Tharizdun?
No, you just had Tharizdun myths regarding the sun.
Yeah.
That's just the
Well, no,
only
I mean, like-
one. That's just the only one that happened to touch on both topics.
Right. Okay. Let's see. Well, I'm trying to remember if I tried for the more general Southern Lands myths about Tharizdun.
That one does get. I think you did ask this, and you got the same thing as you're getting now. More information required.
Right. That one doesn't work. I was like, want to shake more out of the system about this, but I don't know how to ask about it. Myths about the chosen of Tharizdun.
That one doesn't quite get so much more information required, but a similar confused, almost the equivalent of what?
Damn it. Yes, a ball of nothing shoved into a hole doesn't exactly try to make champions for itself.
Proseth being a bit more chill about this, it's like Tharizdun doesn't seem to want champions as much as it does minions.
I don't think they're the type that would make champions even if they could. It's about minions, just things to do stuff for
Okay. I think if I try to follow this any further, I'm just gonna get angrier. So we out.
I would like both of you to make me an intelligence check, because there are places you could theoretically go, but
Oh no.
except
7 and 8.
no,
You're idiots.
it's not so much that it's more Hazel is sheer rage, and Fro says this like we could think about more to ask at this point, but I need to get Hazel out of here before a spiritual weapon or something comes into play and we get thrown out or something. There's wisdom over intelligence. It's like we could stand here and think about it, or I could get her away from
Yeah.
this place before she explodes.
Okay. Yeah.
Tiny sun inside of a building full of books and knowledge. Probably not the best plan.
I'd be more worried about spiritual fist going through a wall.
Yep.
So let's
Fists
not
of-
Yeah. Let's.
do that.
Yeah. No.
yeah, and
Yeah, so they don't spend a terrible lot of time doing that. I'll say it's going to be a lot longer at it, given what all she's supposed to be doing at this stage. So these two come in with Hazel still haired, and
the whole
Darvin is just, I'm not going to ask. I mean, unless I really have to. Do I have to ask?
at this point, yes.
Okay, but I'm just gonna sit on the other side of the room. Burseth, you look like you look like the dragonborn who could say it without vibrating into the next plane, whatever the next the touch here is. I don't think the Feywild would appreciate it if she kind of vibrated into it.
Yeah. Probably
Oh,
not.
let's avoid that.
So basically, she looked into a myth with Thorsden in regards to the sun. So the Sutherlands don't quite have the kind outlook on the sun. It's hot. It beats down on them all the time. It kills their crops. So Thorsden is
Oh,
the counter to that. I remember something from a previous thing about eating the sun, so that explains some things. But I don't think that's the context most people would be going for.
Yeah,
But did they get that belief themselves, or did someone plant it in their minds?
Darvin actually looks at her and
planted
is
it
like,
in their mind. Therazun wants eternal blackness on everything.
I was gonna go into a little less detail than that, but that works too.
That's a good way to do it, I guess.
I think we want to be really careful about that around like Alzor high places, because don't they have the same? And I don't know from the southern lands. Do they have the nifty oasis towns? Barnabas, Remy, not that you saw. They are dipshits about desert agriculture.
No, not exactly.
Yeah, no, not that I recall.
Well,
But
that's
they have oasis and they do nothing with those.
Essentially.
that's stupid.
Yeah, it seemed really kind of dumb, but I wasn't going to start saying anything because mercenary far from home. Let's not pick fights.
Yeah, but no, you didn't see what they were doing in Alamavera. Because we went to this village and they had this whole plantation thing and aqueducts, something, putting the water from.
They took an entire oasis and essentially made it. Just, even in the actual oasis water, they were farming things out of there.
Yeah, Hazel talked to them a lot about that. Anything about farming, she's just all over. But yeah, all those they had like fruits and they had vegetables and they had these funny little goat things that didn't need to drink water at all. They were really tasty too. But yeah, they could build these things and make this whole extra stuff they could sell, and they don't do that in the. How long has this Tharizdun been at them? Because you'd think that they'd figure it out eventually.
Probably a long, long time.
Well, shit.
Brainwashing's a powerful tool.
I can see Clarity thinking, so is blind faith.
Yep. I am the devotee of Palor. I will say, cults suck.
And Darvin's like, yeah, but that's the thing. It's like, you've actually talked to Palor. You commune with him regularly, and I mean, then there's Remy and Alice. We know Palor's not that. Not because Palor told us he's not that, but because he showed us he's not that.
We walk in the sun and the sun heals the worthy, and I hold up my amulet and just glow.
Yeah, like that.
People who aren't shitheads, and apparently there's just an entire continent full of shitheads?
Well, they can't all be shitheads.
Yeah, that's going a bit far. Like they don't know they're in a shitty situation and are probably being taken advantage of.
If not, the ones that aren't outright tainted anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
think about Star Coast. I mean, think about Star
Most
Coast.
of it is fine. It's just enough of it was made out of
Hazel,
condensed stupid.
Hazel, it sounds like it was built on a foundation of sun bad, make it stop burning things.
And that is a very stupid foundation.
Well, yeah, if you weren't taught that, the gods help those who help themselves, and maybe if we use the things that the gods have given us, then the gods will help us be stronger. And it's a Bahamut thing. And it's also a Palor thing.
Yep, and I just have an entire... There's a whole... There are crops that require regular sunlight. If you deprive them of it, they die even faster than if they overheat.
Well, yeah, they don't have a real sense of balance right now. And that doesn't make them stupid, it just makes them badly educated.
Yeah, I know. I'm just need to vent it out, or I start punching things.
I know. I'm just saying that. I mean, if we're gonna have to go to the Southernlands, and we probably are going to have to go to the Southernlands, we can't go there thinking they're all stupid. We don't get to help anybody that way, unless help involves stabbing, which. Not all of them deserve stabbing. The Star Coast, not everybody deserves stabbing.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
So yeah, vent it out. It's okay, but just try to remember that it's not all about the stupid. I mean, we've done some stupid shit when we didn't know any better. The temple to Tiamat, Alice.
Yeah. Okay. So just for. Just so I can reiterate this properly next time. When I'm saying continent full of asshat, it's not every individual there is asshat. It's where a lot of asshattery that's swept up a lot of people is localized.
Yeah. The thing is, we don't know that because you said the same thing about the Elven Wild, and then we got there, and that second thing you said turned out to be true because you Doric and Taisha. Because Taisha was nice. I mean, okay, she was a half-elf, and you weren't really talking about half-elves, but you did say the entire place was made of asshat, which, no.
A wordsmith I am not.
I'm doing a lot better today. I need to keep this up. How do I keep this up? Maybe I had too much of that coffee.
You are rather energetic today.
There's been a lot of new, and I'm gonna need as much energy as I can get because we're going after sides. Keeping this much moving keeps me warm. It's still cold.
Fair point.
Besides, somebody's gotta do the active and cheerful and just to counterbalance some things, you know?
Yeah, that's fair.
Going to hug Darvin, go over to wherever Clarity is, and basically decide Clarity is now occupying my lap.
Okay.
Give her a hug and say, okay. Not everyone has a direct line to their god, you know. You gotta cut some people some slack. People are easily misled.
I will.
Then Darwin is just, and some people have a direct line to the wrong god who lies to them. Like, a lot.
Of a lot. Of a lot, of a lot, of a lot.
What she said.
I'm just at this point, just fully invested in cuddles.
Yeah. If anybody's planning on waiting up for Alice, she's going to be a while. There's a lot of world to cover.
Remy will try to wait up.
Well, yeah, I figured that. Darvin is probably the first to go, you know, she's probably going to be a while. I'm going to head to bed.
Yeah, she probably wouldn't want us to stay up knowing her.
Definitely
Not-
not a bad idea.
Yes, and then not all, looks at Remy, not all of us anyway.
Yeah, well, she's
Yeah, Remy's not gonna be the last person to leave the table.
I'm hanging around as long as Clarity is.
Anything else I need to read from the
Not
my
particularly.
section?
Not particularly, no.
I mean, can I just sit in there and read?
Well, you're
One
too
day.
you're too busy being cuddled at this point. So let's see. It would appear cuddles time is now.
It's important too.
Yeah. So
Time for cuddles.
if eventually you sort of hold in bedroomward direction for yet more cuddles, more recumbent cuddles, I suppose.
There will definitely be a return for you to read everything in that section you found.
That would
Yeah.
probably take like most of your lifetime.
I want to see the other sections too. Well, some of them. Probably not all.
Repeat visits to be had.
Yeah. And eventually, probably just a bit before Remy gives up, Alice kind of wanders back in. Oof. The world is not small.
Nope.
And we apparently have insufficient data points.
Mm,
I
I
can
don't know.
I can make a couple of educated guesses, but it's not much, I tell you that.
That sounds like enough for now.
Oh, that's the thing. It's such a different geography. I mean, it's comparing desert wasteland to forest. I could tell you where, if it was going to break out in Alamavera, where it would be likely to do there, but we I can't think of any place that, beyond Star Coast where, and that was underground, so they had a hole to the Underdark. So one thing is places that touch on the Underdark. It's got to be fairly close to the
That's
surface. Well, that's the thing. It's got to be fairly close in the Elven Wild, close to that settlement of Wood Elves we were at, just on the basis that they've got that Drow and Durgar attacking them thing. So an entrance to the Underdark must be close. But since it hasn't started bubbling up and infecting the tree life, it must be fairly far down for now.
Well, then that's something for us to look at eventually.
Also leads me to wonder, they know approximately where the Green's lair is in the Elven Wild. Have to wonder if anyone's been excavating. When Froseth was talking about when it was Torin telling, my brain's a little fuzzy on the story, and I don't even know if you were there when they were telling it. I'll have to ask in the morning, but Torin apparently told them that when he went to investigate the remnants of Froseth's settlement township thing, he found them excavating.
Does sound like they're in.
So either they found one underground or they're making one.
I don't like the idea of a hole
You're
that
not
close to
there.
home.
You're not there.
I'll have to figure out a way to collapse the hole.
I'll just have to wonder if that's enough. I also wonder if there's a wellspring of wellsprings. A central point.
Oh, if that was in our home, I think that'd be a lot harder for them to hide.
No, I imagine it'd be deep down somewhere if there was something like that.
Or
Or-
incredibly deep.
I mean, that or, and this stuff is extra planar. I wonder if there's like those thin places that Bethrun was talking about? Maybe they're not all just Feywild and Shadowfell. Maybe somebody made or exploited one of those. Maybe with that moss that ate holes in reality that you guys were saying. And maybe they ate a hole big enough to make a central wellspring that's not quite of this reality. There's too many variables here.
You need to get some sleep for now.
Yeah, well, at
Oh,
least,
that's still a while away, anyways.
at least a white dragon is something I can hit.
That's exactly. We have a white dragon to deal with in the immediate future.
Well, in the immediate future, meaning the trip from Goldendale to Gray's Inn anyway, but yeah. Yeah, okay. Pat. Come on. Yes. Morning happens and Alice is probably sleeping in because there was a terrible lot of... And at least Remy was sitting down and not brain exerting quite so much, and probably napped a little.
Yeah, Remy will let her sleep in.
Yeah, so as you guys are gathering for same breakfast, various bits of Barnabas's favorites and all the rest of it. And Rylan probably just found a place to settle and trance for a bit. And meet up in their common area for breakfast. Again, Sans Alice at first, but Remy doesn't look particularly panicked, so it's probably okay.
Long night.
For her, yeah.
Did you get anything?
Not as much as we could have hoped for, I think. The landscape is so different between two continents, and the best guess is it has more to do with entrances into the Underdark. Which, not quite surprising, given what we've heard.
Mm-hmm.
And the question came up if there's an ultimate wellspring somewhere that's more of a rift into wherever Thrasidune is, which is a whole other problem.
So an infinite hole full of goo.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
That's
certainly
also
not
likely
alarming.
somewhere very deep in the Underdark.
Wonderful.
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, I guess.
Exactly. We have a dragon to
Plenty
deal with
to handle
right now.
already. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have thing to be doing, but as usual, we add another thing to the list of stuff we gotta kind of keep
Yeah.
relatively close at hand on the brain pan.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So the plan is grazing, then the Elven Wild, right?
Looks like it.
Yep. Now, not to make light of this or anything, but we have to do some pest control for the infestation of flying handbags.
Yeah, we do.
There's an infestation of flying handbags.
Darvin
She
is
calls the
that,
dragons.
yeah, that. We blame Alice for that one, or thank her for that one, depending on the mood we're in at the time.
More things on the list, indeed.
Well, you kind of gotta laugh at it a little bit, otherwise you spend all your time just doom.
Mm.
Doom and gloom or excessive amounts of angry. And I stew in enough angry on a regular basis that I probably need a lot of filter. And one thing that definitely helps, besides Mr. Foot in Mouth over here causing us to laugh our asses off all the time.
I live to serve.
The other thing that does loads for that is, well, I'm going to lean over and proceed to smooch the bejesus out of Clarity for a minute.
You gotta keep hope, you know?
You okay?
I'm laughing about something out of character, that's why I'm making a face.
Yeah. Alice comes out made of a little bit of rumpled and just, please say there's coffee.
Remy puts a coffee into her hand.
Thank you.
Barnabas looks very offended.
Yeah, you might have drunk it. Might have.
Could you give me a little credit?
You bought out an entire shop supply, Barnabas.
Right, because we travel all
Say
over to
nothing
the
of the fudge
Anyan.
incident.
Fuck!
You guys
Not
were
all
the
of you.
Cupcake Coterie. Why are there fudge incidents?
At which point Darvin is like, also, Hazel could have drunk all of it. Oh, though maybe not, because then she would have vibrated into the next time.
Oh god, yes.
It would have been immediately apparent if that had happened, especially if it was my supply.
You underestimate how much time I spent in Bestiary and World Map. I'm just saying. Yeah, okay. As far as your notes and sketches goes, the big dog-shaped things, that's what happens when you taint direwolves.
Oh.
The big lumpy ones, that's what happens when you taint owl bears.
Ooh.
The big things with the spindly legs, I don't even know what those are. They didn't have a name. All they had was effectively run. And yeah, that big spider is what happens when you really fuck with a phase spider.
Lovely.
And the moss is a demon. Or lots of demons. I don't know how many there are.
You mean like a hive mind sort of?
Well, no, it's just I don't know whether any one clump is just one demon or a couple of them that happen to be next to each other. Or you don't get that much detail in a pencil sketch.
A
And-
vaguely moss-shaped demon mass.
They're called alkaliths. And they literally eat holes in reality.
Oh.
As well
that's
as making this kind of buzzing, humming noise that drives you crazy.
Fun.
And they really, really like fucking up their environment, which is probably why they're on board with all this. Taint is really their jam.
More like home. Which is inherently kind of fucked up.
Sorry, Nee.
No. They want it to be more like home, which is why they want to fuck up reality, because their home is inherently fucked up.
Probably it just said that they like tainting their environment. Because they're hateful fuckers.
Yeah.
Anyway, did Ree happen to mention the world map stuff? Because I know I told her about that before I crashed.
Yeah. Oh, sounds like we'll be going into the Underdark eventually.
Honestly, I hope that does become a necessity, because thinking about these alkaliths is... I'm wondering if the holes they're eating in reality are eating through to the plane where the stuff is. So it's possible that those weren't well springs at all until these alkaliths made them so. But I've got no proof of that one way or another.
If they're eating reality, how do we fix that? Or can we even?
I don't know. You'd probably need somebody way more magically trained than, in the actual school, sitting down at a desk talking about the theory and all the rest of it than any of us. But if I had to hazard a guess, I'd say that reality doesn't like having holes in it. So it would eventually heal up? Probably?
Yeah, I guess that fits.
So long as you eject the demons in a timely manner.
I mean, same as us. When we get a cut, it heals on its own. So yeah, I see.
Yeah, it just takes time, and you'd have to watch the area. But again, that's just a guess. You'd have to ask somebody who yammers philosophy or theory or whatever. I'm really into the practical aspects of most of this. There is thing, I will hit it. There is one good thing though.
Oh.
Because the prismatic goldfish bowl worked so well, I never had to use the chains.
Oh, that's
You still
right.
have the chains of F off.
And that's
right.
a trick they don't know we can use yet. It's just a matter of actually getting this thing chained up. Looks at Rylan. I've done this once, and I decided to bring it into other applications. Heat metal. So, chains, pin thing, heat up chains.
Anything
that's
wearing metal armor
clever.
or wrapped in chains burns.
Brutal but effective.
And also keeps it on the...
Clever.
And that also keeps it on the ground so that more people can hit it and it can't fly away. Because if it flies away, then the only person who can really follow it is me. And I did that once before. I don't.
With a red, and that was just with a adult red.
The size of an ancient red. If I mean, it was bigger than an adult.
Yeah, it was bigger than it was supposed to be. Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
again,
it was supersized, but
it made it clumsy, but it still managed to do for me.
So we can considering.
I'd rather not.
We
I'd rather not solo that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
You guys deserve some of the glory.
Blue. And in that case, we got like hilariously lucky because once it was in the bowl, it got so angry it kept trying to just.
No,
through.
not exactly. Part of it was that it was blind because that thing gives off a lot of light. But the other reason that it was just mindlessly hitting things was because I cast a confusion spell on it before the bubble went up.
Yeah. You also. Yeah, you pantsed it in the brain space, and then we put it in the bubble.
And it was still
just kept hitting it.
Well, that's kind of what you do, or you try to move, and that same result because it only just fit.
But now we have to deal with an ancient white without the bubble.
Hence, chains.
Yep.
Plus,
and this time we're gonna keep clarity out of the range of space.
Keep in mind, cone, not line. That's right, isn't it? The breath weapon is the same shape as it would be on a Dragonborn, just bigger.
Works like mine, only bigger.
Okay, just so that we know, that's kind of an important thing to know at this stage.
But yeah, the breath weapon sent out a much wider range than.
Which, I mean, begs the question, Rylan, we were kind of remiss in not asking you before, because you seem confident that you could handle a fight. I mean, what do you do? That's not as judgmental as it turned out. I need more coffee.
I kind of do a bit of a bunch of different things.
I'm guessing magic.
Typically not more magic than any of your fancy wibbly wobbly sword nonsense.
Squeeze me?
Beg your pardon.
Don't mean that
I've
in a
seen
bad
these
way.
guys do some incredible sword.
Oh, I believe that. I just don't understand the weaponry sometimes.
Pointy end goes in baddie. It's
Yeah,
not complicated.
Simple
Repeat
but
as
effective.
problem.
needed.
It's too simple sometimes. At least for my brain, anyway. Something as simple as put point thing into opponent body. Like,
Well, usually they try to avoid it.
Well, I mean, consider a spell. It's put magic energy into baddie. Yes?
yeah. And you have to conjure the energy from somewhere, and you have to drag it across some variant of blind reality guessing, and then eventually they explode.
So you
And
need it to
you-
so you need it to be complicated.
Effectively, yes.
Okay.
I don't question. I don't know. It's how my brain works.
Yeah,
I
but
wish I had an explanation.
No. You see, this is not me judging. This is me going, okay, now I know how your mind works, so I can tailor anything that I need to say to a way that you might understand a little better. It's like, and she pulls her scimitars, these. They look like shards of ice.
They're very pretty shards of ice.
Yeah, but and I need to ask Jenna about exactly where those came from, but they draw ice energy from across the various whatever boundaries. I mean, maybe it's the water plane, maybe it's some other place. I don't know where it comes from, but it is drawn from somewhere to keep them in their shape. They don't melt, and they do ice damage to the people I stick them in. And when I'm a bit more charged up than I am right now, I pull from my own soul radiant energy, which does extra damage, which I can only do for about a minute because obviously the tank gets low. My rage can draw ice energy from through me from my own past, possibly. I don't even know at this point, but it will, among other things, give the people around me a little bit of ice armor. As long as they're close enough.
It's so angry, she makes the elements themselves listen to her.
Pretty much, yes. And I also use the swords and my body as a full body somatic component to spells.
Some bards sing,
Wow.
she dances.
Yeah, it's they call my type of bard a blade. It's College of Swords. It means that I turn my combat into part dance, part magical focus, part performance.
Sounds like you're 3 steps away or so from choreographing an entire musical just to cast a couple of very powerful spells. Not that that's a bad thing, I just find that fascinating.
Well, it's not so much a couple of very powerful spells. It's a bit more all-purpose than that. I can change how I look. I can confuse an enemy. I can heat up metal. I can teleport a little bit. Thunder wave. A few other bits and pieces. And Darvin is just College of Valor. I take the stories and I tell the stories so hard that I can do magic and make people better at doing the thing that they do.
You're also out here making the stories too, because
Well,
you
yeah,
don't
but
know
I'm
any of these
telling.
things.
Well, yeah, but I'm telling them as I'm making them. That's how the cheering you guys on can actually work. I tell you that this is how the story is going to be, and then you make it be.
Welcome to why he's one of the reasons why we stay sane.
Yeah, I'm going halfway crazy. If I want to keep going in that general direction, I guess I need to throw some sanity off as extra weight. I don't know.
And now also you're going to carry all of the extra ice.
That was Darvin, actually. So,
Oh.
Yeah.
Alisei tends to be less on the goofy end. She's more dry
Have you
humor.
noticed?
It'll be easier when Ethan gets back.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, beyond that, it points at Alisei points at Hazel and Remy. All their power is channeled through them from various gods and high up celestial beings. And, lots and lots of training in both cases. I mean, Hazel with all her running around. And
the local cleric of Palor, and a lot of work at the temple involved them putting me in a suit of full plate and telling me to jog around the entire temple several times.
we're still
Sounds like a nightmare.
we're still pretty sure that they were trying to burn off the Hazel hyperactivity. I don't think it worked.
Yeah, because even after
pretty sure it
lap
didn't
3, I was still vibing.
And retrained with the companies. And then Palor kind of knock.
Yeah, gods will do that.
Apparently, yes. Barnabas also with the companies. Before that, he was law enforcement.
A long way from here, but yes. Although, I'm not without a different plane. It's called Ravna.
Somewhere where the Minotaurs are actually really cool people and not liable to just...
I am not prototypical of the Minotaurs of home. Alright?
You're still cool.
Thank you.
Just
But-
stunned silence as Rylan keeps writing.
Well, you know what? While we're revealing this sort of thing, I think you probably should know this ahead of time. I'm not without my tricks. So, there's a seat next to Rylan that's currently empty. Just go.
We'll say yeah.
For a split second, Rylan will notice a basically like gray, shadowy copy of Barnabas suddenly shows up, sitting on the seat next to him, and then Barnabas literally teleports to that spot.
So the
Suddenly
shadow
they're-
is
they're-
in
the
his...
shadows where Barnabas was.
And then it
Pause
just
to poke
dissipates.
to Barnabas. Just with the back of the pen, just like, which one is the real one?
Well, no, one is a gray shadow figure and one is fur. So when they swap, you could tell that, like, okay, so the shadowy figure is over there, and the real one is he. What?
Yeah, it sort of just happened when I arrived. I made the best of it.
I can see that. Okay. Noted.
Literally.
Tell me.
Somebody had to say it. I wasn't gonna let it be Darvin. I would have, and I wouldn't have done it nearly so well.
A full 100% cooler than any other Minotaur because there's more than one of him.
Wait, there's more than... But aren't you...
He's talking about the Echo.
Ah.
Mm.
Sorry, my brain stopped processing for a second.
Honestly,
That'll happen.
yeah.
That'll happen around here. That'll happen.
It's a rare and select few of us whose brains don't go. Hazel puts it, clunk, somewhere along the line. And then, of course, there's Clarity, who has friends in sparkly places.
I've noticed, and I just imagined the tiny little fairy dragon nuzzled into my scarf.
Yeah, Flitty has decided that this one needs me. That in Draconic. So it's just, this one needs me. I'm going to stay right here. Poof. when the peeping is over. Oh, hey, Ava, did you show him Butterscotch and Clarity, Sapphire?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Take out little Siamese
Plush.
cat plushie.
The
But it's
living
going like this.
plushie. It's just kind of. And
There's more animals.
well, that's the thing. They look. You know what a stuffed animal looks like.
Uh-huh.
These are clearly not a cat and a dog. It's clearly plush toys that move and behave like animals, because the cat is just doing that I am being held by the scruff thing, and butterscotch colored Toller retriever puppy is just wag wag wag, occasional nuzzle into Ava's hands.
How?
Magic.
Pretty much.
Is there any more specific than that?
You'd have to
I mean,
ask
this-
the people who made them. There's a shop in Belarus.
Yeah, Rylan, if you're from, you said you were from Elvenwild. You're from Elvenwild area, so you're our whole side of. I'm from Goldendale, so our whole end of this continent has been trapped without progress. Over here, things have escalated. If you ever see Egraph, I'm pretty sure your eyes are gonna fall out of your face from the sheer ridiculousness and awesome.
My eyes are almost falling out of my face just from this.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's not ready for a graph just yet.
You want to see more animals?
Oh God.
Oh.
The bag again.
No.
They
Are
haven't
you-
been out in a while.
If
no.
Just throw it and picking out furry things out of a bag and just tossing.
oh my
Or it's just
fucking
general
God! It's
action.
Norman again.
Of course it's Norman.
It's always Norman. It's
Five-
always Norman.
Norman
Fuck.
is dead?
It's always Norman.
5, 7, and 3. So 7, 5, Norman.
Okay. Panther, it's Ernesto.
So
And Direwolf is Brandon.
Brandon's back, and you've got Darvin going. Hey, it's the dream team.
So meet Norman, Ernesto, and Brandon.
I gave her a bag of tricks. It's mostly been used for this.
I'm going to
They're
go
mostly
over to-
couple friends.
I'm going to go over to Norman, pick up Norman, trundle over to Clarity, deposit Norman.
Haven't seen you in a while. It's been a while.
I think
Holy shit.
I think Nyx might be slightly dying. So yeah, currently
Harmony.exe has crashed.
currently Rylan has a panther and a dire wolf kind of looking at him, just sitting there like, hello.
Hi. Oh my God, there's a lot of animals.
Hey,
Ah.
I need to go check in on Legolas. Want to come meet Legolas? And Darvin is, you want to come meet Legolas.
What is Legolas exactly?
My moose.
You have a fucking moose?
No, better, a dire moose.
Okay, correction. You have a fucking dire moose!
Yes! I have a
One of
fucking
them,
dire
yeah.
moose.
How the fuck did...
We were raised more or less together, and you know the people need riding moose. I was one of the people. I had a riding moose. Still do. Legolas is going to be very, very sad that I'm going away again.
Bring him with us.
Hmm.
Well, why not? I mean, think about it. There's shit going down in Goldendale. What better guard animal could you have?
Mhm.
Oh, well.
Yeah, but
If he's staying in Goldendale.
Mom and Mama would
That's-
love him. The kids would be all over him.
And
That's
if
over
anybody
miserable
if anybody
protocol.
came along trying to do anybody harm, would get a face full of moose. Dire moose.
Said moose being about the size of. Well, okay, I would compare it to a tram from Agrif, but have you ever, Riley,
No.
have you ever seen the trams in Agrif?
No, he got a
never
direct.
been there.
Yeah, it's like a house that moves by itself.
Okay, you've seen moose. You have definitely seen moose.
Uh-huh.
Think that about half again the size. I have to show you. Finish breakfast. Come on, and we can discuss. Whether Legolas might like to live at Hearthhome. Bounce.
As well as probably show you
Holy
whatever
shit.
what Froseth and Ava have the capacity to do. I know because I mean you already know what me, Clarity, Remy, Barnabas, and our two amazing bards can do. You haven't seen our Rangers' ridiculous accuracy, nor have you seen our monk, who at this point I believe can either choose to run on water, swim through water entirely without having to breathe, or any number of ridiculous defiance of the basic laws of of just reality in general.
Alice sort of leans back in. He commands the elements.
Well, command is.
Well, you do, but you're very polite about it. You only do it within a limited scope.
Ask about this one.
Uh,
I'm just gonna not ask anymore. I think my.
I
I,
think-
I could go into a complicated description, but simple. I hit things and elements do things for me.
See? Okay, maybe not commands, politely requests.
That sounds right.
We've seen him throw water around. We've seen him fire lightning straight out of his hands.
I think that was the mark thing. Oh no, we have to explain the
Oh,
god
that
marks. We have to explain
There
the
are
god marks.
in this. Oh,
You'll
don't worry about that again.
And actually, oh no, these are good ones. Brushes. Walks over to Hazel, brushes her fringe off her face to show a glyph in the center of her forehead. Paylor gave her that. It means she has special
Dropping
powers.
bits of magic. Might involve food. You'll see.
I have a lot to learn.
Mine mostly.
You'll get in the swing of it.
Mine mostly involves protecting some of y'all, or all of y'all, or any of y'all. Something. Me too, a bit. By this point, she's herding everybody out in the direction of the setup for the people. And I mean, yeah, Ryland has seen the dire moose, but as they approach, there's this one that kind of jumps his enclosure. Big white moose and clump over to Alice and
Are you sure that is a dire moose and not a polar bear with antlers?
just nudges for her in the side of the head. Ah, hello, legs. And leans, basically takes head, turns in Ryland's direction. Ryland. Big moose tilts head, and as he raises his hand in a wave, it's just moose snoot. here is in this sort of here is my nose, you will now pet it way. Very, very
Is
velvety.
normal?
Yeah, he's got the hint now that anybody who's with me, I think Clarity kind of conditioned him on this one. Anybody who's with me, will want to pet him. Yes, very velvety
Seen that.
moose snoot.
Hi. Oh God, am I supposed to be talking to it? What?
The malfunction does it.
That is a very smart moose. He'll more or less understand. He prefers sign, but commonal. You can say hello. It's okay.
Hi.
But
This is the closest I've ever gotten to something this big.
you rode in the sleds,
I am
didn't you?
a friend. What was that?
You rode in the sleds, didn't you? When you came here from the outskirts. Yes, you would have done.
Yes, I did. I didn't get nearly as close to one of these things as I.
At which point, there's the sound of large, very excited dogs. Glump, glump,
Three,
glump, 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 glump.
two,
And Rylan, can you make me a strength save?
Oh great, this will be good.
Also, Clarity and Ava.
This one is a save, right?
This one is
Before I
definitely a
push the button.
save.
no.
Strength save, you said?
10.
It's wild 8.
Oh my god, I forgot you had a negative modifier.
And all Rylan, Clarity, and Ava literally dogpiled by dire huskies. Woof. And
Oh, why couldn't I have been 9? Hi.
and yeah, it's getting snoof, 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 lick, 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 snoof, 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 snoof. All three of you.
He was just giggling at this tickling.
Oh, 9 would love you right now. Hi.
Yeah, if you're trying to talk to them, they do the wolf thing of my tongue is going in your mouth. So as you try to do that,
Hey,
it's
it
just
could
like
be worse. My family has a pet dog that decided that instead of mouth, they would lick ear as much as possible.
oh, they
So
do that.
it
They
could
do
work.
that. They do that too. But it's getting to first base with a dire husky is a thing, apparently. So yeah, that's Rylan sort of trying to go hi.
Hi.
After a little while of this, there's and the dogs remove themselves and they sit around a. You'd think it was a Goliath if he didn't have hair, but no, that's a human. That's a very, very big human. And I'll say it's just, common. Yes, I know. I'm not as bad about that as some. You picked up a new one. Rylan. Vord.
V
It'll
or
help
some
Clarity
other
and
spelling
Eva
with
to your
letters.
feet.
It looks at Alice. You know more the spelling than me. Vored. Vord.
Understood.
I think anyway. They don't do that much written language around here.
I can imagine that.
It does some signs that Remy and Barnabas recognize as he's almost as bad for writing things down as Clarity is. And he just says, Is this you saying goodbye for the moment? Yeah, but I did have one thing to ask. I mean, I know that Legs hasn't exactly been happy hauling supply sleds. You're going to try to take a moose? There's farm. And, he's got to be getting on a little bit by now. Well, every time you're anywhere near, he keeps escaping enclosures to come be by anyway. He's going to get proper exercise. There's forest and kids. Lots of kids. Looks at Hazel. You have sufficient eatings for moose? Alice says, he's going to get fed a lot better, actually. They have winters, but there's also, growing things everywhere. You haven't seen south, but forest, cranberry bog.
He would probably be able to inhale half of the bog by himself.
They don't tend to need that much in the way of foods. So it probably will not denude your cranberry bog. I don't know how that works. I think it's up to Legolas. It's just seeing something that size sidle is impressive. Just in Alice's general direction. Then ends up sort of
moose sidling.
Yes, and then kind of steps around rather delicately for something that big, and kind of between Alice and Remy, just not trying to separate them, just I am here now. I think the moose has spoken. Does this mean you have no actual excuse to be coming back? No, we said. You said summer hunt. Question would be how we get legs here. Well, you have your teleportation circle. I sure can fit in one if he squishes. So yeah, okay. Well, good luck to you all. You, sir. Sir? Looking at Rylan. His word is just, you, sir, or not, sir?
Yes. Depends on the day, and sometimes the weather.
Okay, person. Do not be fret. You're in good hands. They are ridiculous, most of them. But that they are ridiculous in the good way.
It's a bad way for something to be ridiculous?
Yes, bad ridiculous is it gets you killed. This just it makes you laugh.
I will keep that in mind. Sir.
It's just you are made of nervous.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Perhaps nervous is your pronoun.
Congratulations, you broke the elf.
Note to self, write that on the whiteboard when this is over.
Hopefully, one day your pronoun will not be nervous.
I'm working on it. But thank you.
It actually picks Ryland up, sets him on his shoulder. I look forward to seeing what your new pronoun shall be.
I suppose I look forward to that as well.
Puts it back down again.
Ah.
Safe travels to you all, and you promised me a grand hunt. He's pointing at Remy now.
I am very much looking forward to it.
Good. The dogs are very much... Vord chucks a bag of treats in Clarity's general direction, although Norman and Ernesto and Brandon are also kind of at it. You can give the dogs one last treat.
You get one, and you get one, and Brandon and Ernesto and Norman, of course.
And yeah, that's...
This is why I love her. She is just so freaking cute.
And yeah, with all of that being, more or less taken care of, Hazel can find an appropriately sized door to be allowing a dire moose through.
Where?
Well, they can just use the palace front doors. There is a keyhole.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Hey, Rylan. Want to know how we're getting home?
Sure.
We're not actually going in here. We much as we have been in here this entire time, we're not going to be going back in. And turn. As I turn, pull out my amulet, and you're finally going to see a key dangling from the same necklace. I'm going to turn, key in the keyhole, turn, open, and pull the key out afterwards, but the door opens not on the entryway into the palace.
That's what you get is more of a dooryard. It is still a bit snowy, but definitely outside. We only have 6 seconds, guys.
Let's go.
And given that we're about that time, we'll leave it at stepping through the door and into the Hearthhome dooryard. A long way away back in Baronsphere. So I'll see you guys in 2 weeks when we start dealing with some what's been going on in Baronsphere bullshit.